This is Radio Health Journal. I'm Nancy Benson. This week, does it make sense to go gluten-free?
You can see gluten-free exploding and taking over all these other diets. It's a trend. It is worldwide. How long it's going to last, who knows?
The Gluten-Free Diet exposed when Radio Health Journal returns.
June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. The Alzheimer's Association is encouraging everyone to learn the truth about Alzheimer's. First, Alzheimer's is not normal aging, and with a wide variety of possible symptoms, it's more than just memory loss. The truth is that Alzheimer's disease is fatal, and even though it can't be prevented, cured, or even slowed, early detection matters, according to Ruth Drew, Director of Family and Information Services of the Alzheimer's Association.
An early diagnosis of Alzheimer's allows people living with the disease and their families more time to plan for the future. It also allows these individuals to get the most out of treatments that may address symptoms and help maintain independence longer. They may also be able to participate in a clinical trial to help researchers discover a cure. It's important for people living with Alzheimer's to access care and services early so they and their families can live the best life possible.
Take time to learn the truth about Alzheimer's disease. Get started at alz.org/truths. That's alz.org/truths.
Every few years, it seems some new fad diet comes along. Whether it's the Atkins diet, the paleo diet, or the low-fat, low-carb diet, they all seem to come and go. But there's a recent diet trend that's skyrocketed in popularity and doesn't appear to be fading away anytime soon.
You can see gluten-free exploding and taking over all these other diets, taking over inorganic food, veganism, low-carb diets, Atkins diet. All these diets were much more popular, but now at least Google Trends shows that in by far the majority of the United States, gluten-free is the most popular Google diet. It's a trend. It is worldwide. And how long it's going to last, who knows?
That's Dr. Peter Green, professor of medicine and director of the Celiac Disease Center at Columbia University. He's also author of the new book, Gluten Exposed. Green says there are some people who legitimately need to avoid gluten, those with celiac disease.
In celiac disease, people get this immune reaction to gluten, which is the term for the protein component of the cereal grains, wheat, rye, and barley. And so when these particular individuals who have a specific genetic makeup come in contact with gluten, there occurs a trigger. And the trigger can occur at any age, so someone can be tolerating gluten just fine, and then something happens, like they might get a gastroenteritis or take various medications, or for some reason their body starts to recognize gluten as being foreign, and they get this immune response. And it causes inflammation in the bowel, and there are manifestations that are both gastrointestinal and actually in any organ of the body.
Researchers say that about 1% of many populations worldwide suffer from celiac disease, but far more people than just those who've been diagnosed are following a gluten-free diet these days.
It is this major trend for people to go gluten-free, and currently, gluten-free diet is the most Googled diet, so it's a trendy diet, and we don't know why this happens. Some people are doing it because they have symptoms, and they've been told to go on a gluten-free diet. And some of those individuals might actually have celiac disease because they feel better on the diet. But we don't know why many individuals are doing it. You know, it's a popular diet. There are celebrities that claim to be gluten-free. There are world-class athletes that claim their recent string of wins, particularly in tennis, is related to them being on a gluten-free diet. And there's very little evidence for that. It's a trendy diet, and we don't think it's a very good diet for people who don't really need to be on it.
It's not as if gluten has shown up in our diets only recently. It's been a major component of food for millennia, and societies have thrived on wheat as a staple.
It's only just now that wheat has become the big boogeyman. Well, we don't think a gluten-free diet is very healthy. For people who need to be on a gluten-free diet, they need to be very vigilant, and there are two components of a gluten-free diet. One is knowing what to avoid, but the most important is knowing what to eat, because many people don't eat a healthy diet anyway, and when they're on a gluten-free diet, they tend to eat less healthy because they're just eating things that they know or think are safe. Some of the pitfalls in a gluten-free diet is that wheat flour is fortified. It's fortified with vitamins and minerals, and that was first developed to prevent the development of birth defects. But other non-gluten containing grains, specifically rice flour, doesn't have any fortification.
Green says that self-prescribed gluten-free diets are often vitamin deficient and low in fiber, which in itself can cause symptoms. And along with what's not in gluten-free foods, he says you should also worry about what is in them.
The gluten-free products, the manufacturers sell food products by adding salt, fat, sugar, and gluten. And if you take one out, they tend to increase the others to maintain taste and attractiveness for people to come back and buy it. So we can see people develop diabetes, become obese, cholesterol go up because of the gluten-free products that they're eating.
Green says researchers have another issue with gluten-free diets as well, but they're not sure of its significance. But it certainly sounds scary.
People on a gluten-free diet have more heavy metals such as lead, mercury, arsenic, and cadmium in their blood. There's potential for that to be deleterious to their health. So overall, gluten-free diet is not a healthy diet, and it's much more expensive. So it hurts the pocketbook as well as it hurts the body.
So is there any way to go gluten-free in a healthy way? Green says yes. The correct way is to be under the care of a registered dietitian or nutritionist.
Now, we're perfectly aware that the majority of people are not under the care of a registered dietitian, that people know all about it because they go to the internet. But once again, it's the second part that people fall down on, that they don't have a diverse, healthy diet. You can adapt the myplate.gov diet to a gluten-free diet very readily, but it involves eating that gluten-free stuff called fruit and vegetables, meat and dairy. So you can have a healthy gluten-free diet, but we think that the majority of people on a gluten-free diet don't.
Still, some people need a gluten-free diet. Green acknowledges that non-celiac gluten sensitivity is a reality, and that when people affected go gluten-free, their irritable bowel syndrome symptoms often improve.
When you go on a diet, you change a lot of things. You just don't take out one product. You get different products. So improvement in symptoms may actually be related to not the gluten coming out of the diet, but something else. So it's important if people are looking for an answer for various symptoms before going gluten-free to get tested for celiac disease, because the symptoms may get better and they won't get the diagnosis. And it's important to get that diagnosis.
That diagnosis is important, so people know whether the diet is really important to their health or just a fad they'd like to try. Gluten-free is the latest diet trend to come along, but it certainly won't be the last one.
People can certainly use any diet they like, and people are continually searching for a diet, but they should be under the guidance of someone. This self-diagnosis and use of the internet to look for an answer is not necessarily a very good thing.
You can learn more about Dr. Peter Green and his new book, Gluten Exposed, by visiting our website at radiohealthjournal.net. Our writer this week is Polly Hansen. Our production director is Sean Waldron. I'm Nancy Benson.
Radio Health Journal returns with medical notes in just a moment.
More than 2.3 million people worldwide have multiple sclerosis, or MS, a chronic debilitating condition. Kim Bradley was diagnosed with relapsing MS, the most common form of MS, in 1986. Relapsing MS is unpredictable, and patients don't know when or if it will flare up. But treatments are available that help slow disease progression and reduce relapses.
In 2006, after trying a few other treatments, my doctor and I discussed the benefits and risks of Tysabri. With regular monitoring, I've taken Tysabri for the past 10 years.
Tysabri has been available in the United States for 10 years. If you have relapsing MS, talk to your doctor or go to Tysabri.com for more information. Tysabri natalizumab is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with relapsing forms of MS to slow the worsening of common symptoms and to decrease the number of flare-ups. Tysabri increases the risk of progressive multifocal leukoencephalopathy, PML, an opportunistic viral infection of the brain that usually leads to death or severe disability. When starting and continuing treatment with Tysabri, it is important to discuss with your doctor whether the benefits of Tysabri outweigh the risks. Because of your risk of getting PML, Tysabri is available only through a restricted distribution program called the Touch Prescribing Program. If you have PML or are allergic to Tysabri or any of its ingredients, you should not receive Tysabri. Tysabri may increase your risk of getting an infection of the brain or the covering of your brain and spinal cord caused by herpes viruses that may lead to death. Tysabri may cause liver damage. Other serious side effects include allergic reactions, including serious allergic reactions, serious infections, and laboratory test abnormalities. Common side effects include headache, urinary tract infection, lung infection, pain in your arms and legs, vaginitis, stomach area pain, feeling tired, joint pain, depression, diarrhea, rash, and nausea. The risk information provided here is not comprehensive. To learn more, talk about Tysabri with your doctor. The FDA-approved product labeling can be found at www.tysabri.com or 1-800-456-2255. Kim is a patient spokesperson for Biogen.
Medical notes this week. The cost of providing healthcare for your family is increasing, but not by as much as in previous years. An analysis done by Milliman Medical Index shows that healthcare cost for an average family of 4 currently stands at nearly $26,000 per year. That's a 4.7% increase in the past year, the lowest rate of increase since 2001. However, it's the first time average healthcare cost has exceeded $25,000. The average cost of healthcare includes a family's health insurance premium and actual healthcare expenditures. More states may be making pot legal, but fewer teens are actually smoking it. A study in the Journal of the American Academy of Child Adolescent Psychiatry finds the rate of reported marijuana use in teens has dropped by 10% since 2002. Researchers are also finding a similar decrease in adolescent behavioral problems related to pot use, such as fighting, shoplifting, and selling drugs. And finally, a lot of millennials just can't seem to grow up. A report by the Pew Research Center shows that a third of young adults age 18 through 34 are still living at home. In fact, those living at home outnumber those living with a spouse or partner for the first time since 1880. Experts attribute the trend to falling employment and wages, as well as the rising marriage age for both men and women. And that's Medical Notes this week. More in a moment.
Thank you for listening to Radio Health Journal, a production of MediaTrax Communications. If you enjoyed this week's show, please leave a review on iTunes or share it with a friend. You can find more Radio Health Journal stories about health, science, and technology on iTunes, Stitcher, and at radiohealthjournal.net.